Hey guys, Steven here, Fanatic Perspective. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Coming to you midnight. It is really, really late after a tough loss to the TCU Horned Frog. Shout out to TCU for they're now 10-0. Sonny Dykes, year one, got it rolling. Um, the whole bit coming into Texas, college game days there, all of the build up, all the shows we did this week. I know I talked a lot of trash, and deservedly so. I have to own this, and this team has to own this. And again, credit to TCU. They came in there and won the football game, so 17-10. So that's where I think we should begin in terms of where credit is due. Um, there's a lot to talk about tonight. I wasn't able to actually go to the game. So I actually missed my first home game this year, just with travel and everything. I actually literally just got back, watched most of the game on the airplane. But it's been and life wise has been really really tough, and dealing with a lot of personal issues in my life right now. So football it's supposed to be the escape, but here we are dealing with this. A loss at home, and group therapy is definitely needed. I don't know who said it in the comments. I did see that here, but group therapy is definitely needed tonight because I'm upset 100%. Um, but at the same token, questions have to start, questions need to be asked. I mean, at this point in the season, we're 6-4. So let's set the context. We're 6-4, Big 12. So Big 12 wise, we now have what, three losses, right? Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, and now today TCU. So we have three losses in the Big 12, which means we're now behind Kansas State, who we did defeat last week. But Kansas State only has Kansas and West Virginia left to play. Kansas State gets a big win over Baylor today, who also coming into today had two losses. And TCU clinches their spot for the Big 12 championship game. And obviously they have a lot to play, have everything to play for. They're playing for the playoffs. Everything's on the table for them at 10-0. So we have to, like we said, have to give them credit. Amazing job that Sonny Dykes has done in year one. Amazing job. I'm frustrated for many reasons. We'll break all this down. Y'all know how I am. And I'll get to a lot of stuff here in the comments, but uh, it is. I feel bad for this defense. I feel bad for the fans that were there tonight that gave the energy necessary really all day long when you consider game day there and everything that we knew was back on the table for this football team. And it was squandered. They squander opportunities over and over again. And even before the game starts, before everything starts, it's just chaos with who's in, who's out. And that group where all the names, whether it was Deshaun Jameson going to play, is Jay Barron going to play? Then we have to walk that back. We knew Jalen Gilbo was hurt. Like, if you think about all the drama and chaos, it was all on the defensive side of the ball, and they came out and balled. They came out and played. They held a team, y'all. TCU averages north of 44 points per game. Top five offense. They held these brothers to 17. They held them to 3 points in the first half. What more do you want? The second, like both of TCU's touchdowns, I had problems with that I don't even fully blame on the defense. The Kendra Miller touchdown, Miller's a great back, by the way, and he reminds me so much of Aaron Jones on Green Bay, and he's going to be an NFL runner. And that's the type of person that's really, really, really good at the next level with that type of game breaking speed, by the way, and what he can do out of the backfield. However, there was a hold on the edge, no, without question. 75-yard run should have been negated. Had a problem with the first touchdown. The second touchdown, blown coverage. Quentin Johnston's wide open for 6. But the defense shouldn't have been on the field. They did their job. They stopped the offense on that drive. We now have punt team out there. It's the beginning of the fourth quarter, and I'm going straight to coaching. I'm not wasting any time with this. I'll get to my sponsors and thank yous and all that. But right now, I'm very upset. It's the beginning of the fourth quarter. It's a 10-7 football game, or 10-3 football game. Excuse me. It's 10-3. Point is, it's a one-score football game, top of the fourth quarter. We just had our best offensive drive. We had done nothing offensively. And I knew we were in some shit offensively when the game starts off beautifully with us kicking off. We do our normal kick coverage. We badasses on kick coverage. We all know that. We swarm Davis, get him down inside like the 12-yard line. We get the stop. We get the punt. We get the ball at the 42. I think we started that first drive. Somebody correct me wrong if I'm in the comments, if I'm wrong, or in the chat. We get the first. I knew we were in some shit when we got the ball to start the game at the 42-yard line and got no points. And immediately what do y'all know how I say it on this channel? We went 3 and out with the quickness. 3 and out with the quickness, and it's right back to TCU like they got a penalty and just kept going with their original drive anyway. So we didn't even make them pay for the field position. That's why I knew the offense was already on some BS to start the game. But let's fast forward to the beginning of the fourth quarter. We finally had a good drive. Now we didn't get 6 like we should have, but we kicked the field goal. We at least started to make some strides, consistently moving the ball down the field. At that point in the game, your head coach, who is Steve Sarkisian, and yes, I am calling him out by name in regards to this football game because I'm blaming this, not the whole loss, but this particular scenario. Follow me here. You have to read the room as a head coach, period. It's the beginning of the fourth quarter. Steve Sarkisian, do you know how to coach in different types of football games? Today, it's colder. Both quarterbacks are playing like ass, both of them. Offenses are having trouble moving the football. Both teams' defenses are hot. Do we know how to coach in a low-scoring football game and understand field position? Do we understand possession matters here? That's not the time to go punt block. That is too risky. In my opinion, I'm not a head coach. I don't make millions of dollars doing the job. But I have a YouTube channel. I have a voice. I'm here sharing my opinion into the interwebs for anybody that wants to hear. I understand that DeMarvin Overshawn did not hit that punter. But you have to read the room as a head coach and understand, if you'd been paying attention throughout the entire game, you had already gone punt block not once, but twice. You had already gone punt block not once, but twice. Both times that punter flopped. And he got the call in the second. I think the second one he got a running into, but it didn't matter. We still got possession. At that point in the football game, I go back to my original point. It is 10-3, beginning of the fourth quarter. The game flow was not a normal Big 12 game flow at all. This was not a normal Big 12 game flow. Possessions are now critical. Go punt safe and just get the ball. And we have one score. So, yes, we can talk about the blown coverage, who missed who's not talking to who, on when they got back on the field, when they shouldn't have been on the field. And yes, TCU capitalizes on that opportunity to then go up 17-3. But the defense should have never been on the field in that situation if we had good coaching. Good coaching recognizes and adapts. In that scenario, we are playing in a game. Things are crazy right now. It's low scoring, cold weather. I'm at home. Let me just get the rock. I just want the ball. Possession possession trumps everything at that point in the fourth quarter. We don't need to go punt block for the third time when we see this punter is deliberately doing world class acting right now. And he did it again and he got the call. And it costs you because you're not paying attention to the game the way you should be as a head coach. That's my opinion. Nobody can talk me out of this, by the way. I'm going punt safe in that scenario. Top of the fourth quarter, one score game. Are you kidding me? I understand. I understand. Yes, we had gotten close on a couple. Y'all have made some reads throughout the week. Jeff Banks is always going to want to go for the punt block, especially with his personnel. I get that. And they've been money. It's one of the best ways we've created turnovers throughout the Sark tenure, which is now 22 games. I get that. But in that scenario, we got to keep our heads, coach. We can't get emotional and be like, yo, you know what? We need a turnover. Let's go get pump. Let's go pump block. But understanding the risk of like, yo, this punter is flopping, yo. If he takes a dive and they call that shit, they could score. And we don't get the ball. Let's just get the ball. we stopped them. The defense did their job. We stopped them. They're punting. Go punt safe. Anyway, I've harped on that. I'm gonna get to the super chats. I appreciate y'all. I just had to get that one of many things out of my system. Like I said, it's been craziness. Shout out to our first sponsor here, BUSR, busr.com/fanatic. Those of you who, not just Texas, but throughout college football, you're looking for a reliable betting partner. If you're watching, UFC right now and you wanted to bet on any of the UFC fights, Sports 100 FP is the promo code. Take advantage. We're matching everything up to $2,500 via my sponsor. So you can see my big nice mug there. But 100% free play, up to $2,500 on all initial deposits. Shout out to BUSR. And of course, the homies at Last Stand Hats, laststandhats.com/fanatic perspective, Fanatic FP. Look, fans that were out there today, I know a lot of people were out there rocking Last Stand Hat merch. Really, really dope. Y'all know what it is. Use that Fanatic 10 promo code, gets 10% off at checkout. But just support the movement, small business. We appreciate it. And I'm gonna just live in the comments. It's just me right now, and it's all right. Folks calling for Sark's job, but we need continuity. I agree. Sark's adjustments in coaching are starting to be questionable at best. Everything is up for question. Everything's up for question. As a head coach, especially when you consider the current. And thank you for the super chat, Mike Guzno. You've always been supportive of the channel. As a head coach, your job is to win football games. Your job is to develop the talent in this team. Advance the program, especially from where it was when you took over. It's not like you took over. I understand the culture at Texas and the toxicity in the locker room and the lack of continuity and all that. Team was 7-3 when you took over. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. When Sark took over, the team was 7-3. So if I'm grading you against your recent peers in college football, we need to ask questions, considering how well a lot of these coaches are doing in year 1, year 2, considering the coach that you just played tonight, his team was 5-7 last year. And the coach that y'all love so much, Gary Patterson, was on our sideline. And again, the defense was on point, and I give all that credit to PK. But Gary Patterson's over there, and I told y'all both sides were going to be gassed up. And I was wrong, right? I talked that heat. I said we were going to be all gas, no brakes. Clearly, I was wrong. I may have jinxed us. I said we were going to be all gas, no brakes, and then we scored 0 in the first half. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I tweeted this. I tweeted this, and I will own it. I think this was the first game we didn't score a touchdown on offense under Sark. Pretty sure. Even that Iowa State game last year, we had something to Worthy that he scored. So, all right, let me look at some of the comments here because I don't. And Mike Gusnell, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Yeah, there we go. Group therapy is definitely needed. Some of therapy is like sitting on the couch and just as a fan with raw emotion, which is this is what this session is right now, and just getting it all out your system. And then throughout the week, we kind of reason and do rationale and try to get ready for the next opponent and move forward. But I'll tell you, man, when you consider game day here, the amount of recruits that are here, this is a nationally televised game. We've been asking for a night game at DKR, and we did everything but put on a show. We fell on ourselves offensively tonight, and I'll get into some of the things I noticed, but it's just incredibly frustrating with how we played. Um, Michael said, "Can't believe we didn't throw a bubble or screen until the third quarter." We'll get into some of that here in a little bit. I agree with you. Um, I will say again, credit to TCU and some of the things that they had noticed recently with against some of the other teams that we played. And I'm working on something right now with some of the questions that were asked by the media during Big 12 Media Day. And there were folks in the media that asked specifically about Sark versus three high defenses and what Ian Boyd calls the flyover defense, and just that being a possible kryptonite for him. And I'm working on something right now because this is week after week that we're seeing this defense. TCU has now adapted this defense under Gillespie, and it's clearly an issue. Now he can solve for it maybe in a half, right? We had 31 a couple weeks against this defense. We've had some success. It's not like it's just shut out, shut out, shut out. But today TCU did something differently in terms of really emphasizing their run fits and taking away our runs. And now we didn't stay committed. They knew. I think they also kind of factored in Sark would quit, but their game plan was designed for Texas to beat them through the air. They gave it up for us. They really did. Their defense was designed to cause confusion with run fits. Not really sure where guys are coming. A little bit of hesitancy up front, and take all that stuff away. And we'll give up while we're allocating these resources to do those things. We'll give you stuff on the back end. But can your quarterback, can your throw game, can your pass catchers beat us? And the answer was no. That's just the facts. We didn't score a touchdown on offense today. We had 3 points overall. So let's see here. I agree. I didn't like what happened before the half, especially. There was definitely clear, and that lack of aggressiveness to me permeates into your team. Scared money, and you saw what it was. I'm gonna keep it moving because chats are flying in here. And make sure y'all hit that like button. If a brother's gonna be in here struggling, having to go through this after midnight, the least you can do is hit the like button and help me. So I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Homer, man. You're always here for us, brother. No, the defense definitely did a great job. 100%. I haven't seen us swarm a quarterback and cause that type of disruption in years. Barron Sorrell had the game of a lifetime. Jade Barron had the game of a lifetime. We had multiple guys. Guys, let me ask y'all a question. This is going to turn into frustration again. I already feel it in my spirit. Let me go right here real quick so I can tally this up. Okay. How do you have a football game? How do you have a football game where you have, as a team, 14 tackles for loss in a game? In one football game, Texas, Pete Kwiatkowski's defense had 14 recorded tackles for loss as a group. and 5 sacks. 5 sacks and 14 tackles for loss. And you lose? How is that even possible? If I told y'all we would have 14 tackles for loss in one football game, how many tackles for loss did we even have all of last season? We had that one football game and 5 sacks. This was an amazing defensive game plan, y'all, that they came up with today. And that was called today as TCU and Garrett Riley, Sonny Dykes are making their adjustments, and Max Duggan's a veteran quarterback. PK navigated this thing beautifully, gave us every effort. And then on top of that, guess what? On top of that, on top of 14 tackles for loss and 5 sacks, the TCU quarterback and running back are going to screw up mesh and give you a free 7 to keep you in the game. And we still lose. I mean, what the hell else do you want? I see Dustin said, what else could you ask for from the defense? What the hell else do you want? All right, I got to keep up with the chat because I'm running this thing solo. Please, please, please hit the like button. I appreciate y'all. All right. Folks calling for Sock's job. We need continuity. I agree. Let's keep up with here. Oh, Mike said, respectfully disagree. We appreciate that. With how inept our offense was, I don't mind being aggressive there. We've been great on punt block all year. Okay, let me respond to this real quick. I appreciate you, Michael Fordham. Great point. Great counterpoint. We needed some juice. Hey, I'm a go punt block. My offense is stalling. I get you. Here's my counter to your counter. The offense had just come off getting points the drive before. I do believe in in-game momentum. So, yes, punt block had been money all year. However, as a coach, I have to think about things at a macro level and a micro level. At a macro level, my punt block unit is one of the best in the country. At a micro level, TCU's punter and their punt team are prepared to do BS to fish for calls. So I'm not going to give that to them. So I'm just going to get the ball, and I'm going to hope that my offense feels confident about getting points to drive before. That's why I wouldn't have done it at that point. I agree with you if we had done punt block early in the third quarter, or if we hadn't scored in 4 straight or 5 straight drives, if we had no points still. I agree with you. But because we had started to show signs of life offensively, in combination with that punter selling out to try to get whatever call he could and baiting the refs, to me at that point, it's too risky. I need possession. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. All right. No, we're definitely going to watch the replay. I'm going to get to the quarterback in a second. Because I've kept it all on the coach. We've given flowers. The defense as a whole deserves their flowers. Deshaun Jameson doesn't play. Terrence Brooks gets the start, who's a freshman. He's a baby out there. Got guys rotating in and out. They're fighting their asses off. They held this team well below. It's even less than 50% of what they normally average. They have them to 17 points. They average 44 points a game. I can't say anything more about the defensive effort here. And considering TCU's average, I don't know what their average field position is looking at this right now, but I know that multiple times they were in Texas territory to start their drives and still even field goal block. I mean, look at Keaton Crawford getting his hands on balls. Punts that guys were getting after that before the one I'm talking about, like multiple time. I mean, it's the effort on that side and the execution on that side and the development on that side and the game plan on that side. A plus. Bijan wasn't hurt. Bijan wasn't hurt. We didn't run well collectively, and that includes him too. I didn't like the way he hit the hole on the fourth and on that first drive on I think it was 4th and 2. I didn't like the way he attacked the hole there, but there were some other plays where out of the backfield where he either doesn't get the ball, um, we go away from him, and we end up with a 12 carry, 29-yard night. I thought this was a game where you really could have actually hammered Roshan, considering how much more he's able to kind of one cut, get upfield, or just put his foot down and get upfield. We didn't work either of those. We kind of put it more in the quarterback's hands because we played into what TCU was trying to give up, and we failed that test like champions. Can be they had just scored the drive before. You need possession there. Respectfully disagree. And again, the call was terrible. It wasn't a block. Marion didn't hit the punter. But to me, I understand what y'all are saying. We got to take a risk to try to get points, but they had just scored the drive before. I'm going to at least try to let them, see if they're drumming some stuff up. Let's see. Ajay Hall played today, Nash. He really got in, and we didn't. Is that true? How many snaps did he play? All right, Reese. Thanks for this comment. So let's start getting into assessing the players. On this channel, for those of you who follow me, I've tried to tell y'all as much as possible. I'm very concerned about the lack of deep ball accuracy. I have a question. And this is going to be an asshole question, but I don't care at this point because the team's struggling and questions need to be asked. If you took the 2021 offense from Texas and combined it with the 2022 Texas defense, what would our record be? Y'all let me know in the chat. And some of y'all know where I'm going with that. With all the drama we had last year and crap we had last year. Because if you took what the 2021 offense did at Texas and combined it with the 2022 defense, what would our record be? Just curious. I think y'all's opinion. And that's with our offensive line playing better too, by the way. If I had told you we outscored TCU in the fourth before, how do you feel? I didn't think did we outscore TCU or was it 7-7? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That offensive line last year was bad. However, the shots and opportunities that were given, they didn't miss like this. We were talking national. I'm going with this too. We haven't hit on a deep shot like a real air with real air yards. I'm talking about like anybody that knows the route tree. At least where I come from, route tree goes 7 post corner. We're talking about the deep stuff. 7 post corner, 8 post, 9 go. Anything over 7, we haven't hit on it. It's all incomplete. And you have to go back to Hudson Card versus West Virginia, the YOLO ball that was into double coverage and deflected. That was the last 9 route I saw us complete. And then before that, it would have been Quinn Ewers to Xavier Worthy against Alabama in week 2. That was the last time we hit anything on the route tree over 7 downfield against coverage. Period. Like we don't hit anything. And I'm shocked by this at a macro perspective, considering Quinn Ewers' arm talent, the improvement of the offensive line and pass protection to give us that time and ability to allow things to develop. One of the issues we had last year too wasn't just Casey Thompson underthrowing or overthrowing, but was also, oh, our offensive line struggling, so he can't step into that stuff. He doesn't have time to hit some of the deep stuff. That's not an excuse anymore. Y'all tell me that's not an excuse anymore. We're missing everything. And teams have figured this out against us, saying we're going to load the box, we're going to figure out creative ways to take away their stuff underneath. We're not going to allow them to just walk down the field, but we'll give you everything over top. And an offense, by the way, that is designed off of play act. Basically, we're a running team designed to capitalize on play action, right? So the shots are supposed to be there by design of who we say that we are. We say that we want to take shots and hit on this stuff off play action. We don't hit shit. Best throw I've seen this year is still to Isaiah Nayer in the spring game on deep post, which was an 8. It's the best throw I've still seen down the field. Now, I'm not talking about, again, post corners or sail concepts or stuff to the sideline or deep outs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about downfield, vertically. Defense is giving you the middle of the field. They're saying beat us. We're walking our safeties down because we know y'all not timed up. Y'all not timed up to execute this stuff. They just miss and miss and miss. Shout out to my boy Ty at Around the Table Sports, one of the best YouTube college football content creators in the game right now. What's good, Ty? Love you, brother. He said, that's the part that makes no sense. Ty knows this because this is his offensive coordinator running our team now. And he saw it work at Alabama. Sad part, they miss everything over top. But the thing is, teams are now playing them for that, and it's frustrating. That's why you see Xavier Worthy just running downfield because their teams are saying, we will give you that. We know y'all won't complete it though, because you haven't shown it on film at all. Casey Thompson is suspect or whatever you want to say about Casey Thompson. Every now and again he could hit a post. Every now and again he would hit the 9. He wasn't over on the whole season. We are over on these routes. Over. When I'm talking about we hit the guy who ran for 50-yard plus touchdown. Longest completion right now is the 9 route to Xavier Worthy versus Bama against coverage, by the way, 46 yards. That was the longest throw of the season. All right, let me get back. I'm sorry, I missed. Somebody said I missed some super chats. Let me get back to them. I apologize. I don't have a producer, guys, so I'm trying to keep up as best I can. Kirk Jones. Sark gets an F tonight. Why keep trying the deep ball? Why did Bijan get so few touches? Why pass so much on the goal line? I for him with 2 and 5, scores 14 points. Disgusting. Like I said, the defense is giving you that. That's part of that is scheme. B, they got away from it way too quick. I agree with this. In terms of some of this stuff, you're just going to have to say, you know what? Screw it. We're going to run against the numbers. Or try a little bit more creative with our run scheme and create numbers, whether it's on outside on the edge or it's some screen stuff. Try to manipulate what TCU is doing to us a little bit and create some advantages. I didn't see any of that. I think they just kept getting frustrated as a staff that they weren't hitting on that stuff, and then they kept trying to bang their heads against the wall and do it over and over again. That's at least what it seemed like to me. I got to rewatch it. My opinion may change. But I'm with you. Our best players, at least it seemed like even in losses, our best players were still getting the ball and eating. And whether it was Tech or Oklahoma State or any other games where we struggled, those guys were still getting after it. And it seemed like today TCU had a lot of success early on, and then we just said, "Oh, yeah, we can't do anything with that. Let's move on to the air." And it turned into a lot of frustration. It felt like by the staff. So, but again, thank you for your donation, Richard Corrigan. I see you in here. Happy Veterans Day, brother. Thank you for your service. Um, I see you in here, Richard. I missed your comment, but I do see you in here, brother. Um, Let me get to make sure I don't think I missed any other super chats. Do. I apologize. So, oh, Nash, you can come on. Nash, if you have the link for before on the live, just hit that one. I haven't changed it. CG, was that the super chat you were talking about? Oh, I got caught up with the Kool-Aid. I was hyped for this game, as we should have been. We should have been hyped for this game. Everything came back right to us. Nash, let me know if you need the link again. It's the same link I sent you before. You can jump in. That way I can catch up on some of the comments. But this game, from a recruiting standpoint, from again, we have an opportunity to get to Arlington and play for a Big 12 championship with the personnel that we have, with what we've already seen from this conference. And here's the thing: I know a lot of people right now are going to say, "Well, we still have a chance to go 8-4. Wasn't that where we thought this team would be?" Guys, that's when we thought our defense was awful. No one expected our offense to ever go into a football game and not score points at all. We have to adjust. Yes, we have our preseason predictions, and yes, that's valid. But we have to adjust what we're our reality to what we're seeing real time, right? And so what we're seeing is, oh, our defense is way ahead of schedule. And offensively is where you have firepower. I've said this before. Offensive line is ahead of schedule. I was told, okay, you need a new link. I got you. I was told Steve Sarkisian was a quarterback whisperer. I was told Steve Sarkisian was a quarterback whisperer. I was told that he's a master developer of quarterbacks. So why is it? And yes, Quinn Ewers is a freshman, and he will have growing pains, and he will have struggles. But it seems to be a damn lot of struggles since OU. There's a lot of not true freshmen, but there's I mean, somebody mentioned earlier Drake May's out here, and we can only like the freshman thing matters, but we were also told that Quinn Ewers is a generational, oh my god, freshman, right? And as a freshman, yes, you're gonna have growing pains. You're gonna look. There's gonna be times where you look ugly and see things you've never seen to us before. Yes, saw it with Vince. But we also knew, like with Vince, he was a dynamic athlete. He ran for, I think he was like 3 yards short of 1,000 yards rushing that year. Like he had games where it was like, oh, he looks like one of the best players in the country. And then there were other games where he looked bad. Whereas like with Quinn, I'm not seeing like at this point after 2 or 3 weeks, he should have gotten better a little bit, or at least made some strides or have a better connection with the offensive coordinator, in my opinion. I'm not seeing that improvement. We got Nash in here.
Not me. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me? I can hear you, Nash.
If you can, I can't hear you. Hold on 1 second. Try to be able to.
All right, we're getting Nash situated right now in the chat, but I'm not gonna. So the Quinn Ewers backup thing at Ohio State to me doesn't count. He came in in August, and they were already in camp, and guys were already there. The guys he was behind were already there. So that doesn't, to me, that doesn't count. I'm not. That's not what we're talking about. And he got injured, and he is clearly been set back from from some of the lack of reps. But at the same token, here's the thing: development matters, but winning the football game matters more. And so at some point, again, here we go again, having the same conversation. Guys, if we say that, hey, we wanted to see Hudson Card get an opportunity to play, that doesn't mean that I'm saying Hudson Card is now the starting quarterback of the Texas Longhorns. All I'm saying is I want to see a spark. I want to hold the player that's not playing well, in this case, Quinn Ewers, accountable. Let's sit him down, and maybe you can learn a little bit from the sideline, the same way Lincoln Riley helped Caleb Williams learn from the sideline against Baylor last year. I'm going to regurgitate the entire same shit I said against Oklahoma State, because that's coaching, and it's a reality of the situation. You can't give somebody an unlimited leash. This is not all Quinn Ewers. Not every single ball he threw was terrible to where we could make a play, couldn't execute, or anything. But he also wasn't the solution to us winning. He wasn't the solution. And here's another frustration that I have with Steve. I keep hearing people say, "Oh, well, it's not. Steve doesn't like switching quarterbacks. Steve doesn't like quarterbacks running." Who the hell does? What coach does? It's not about your personal preference. And I said this to brother Brad on Twitter, and I'll say it now. Your personal preference should not trump you winning football games and what's best for the team. No, I don't want my quarterbacks to run. But if that gives me the best, if that's the curveball I need to defeat this defense and the BS that they're doing right now, I'm gonna freaking do it to win the game. That's why you're 11-11 as a head coach at Texas right now. Because I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I have a preference. I want to stick with my quarterback. Okay. There's other coaches going against you that are selling out to beat you, that don't care. This is big business. This is college football. This is D1 football. Feelings going to get hurt. That's why we have the transfer portal mania, as crazy as it is. Feelings are going to get hurt. I'm trying to win football games. That's my culture. We're 11. He's 11-11 as a head coach right now. I don't want to hear, oh, well, I don't prefer. Yeah, nobody wants their quarterback running around getting hurt and getting hit all the time. No coach wants that. No coach wants to be switching quarterbacks. I want to have a guy and stick with him. And just because if I bench you, I'm just telling you, hey, we're gonna sit you down this series or next two series. Let's see if we can get something from Hudson. And if Hudson's trash, I'm gonna put you back in. Be ready. I'm trying to win the game. Stop making this about you, player. This is about the team. It's a team sport. Maybe the team will respond if you let Hudson you go in there and use his legs a little bit. I guarantee you TCU didn't prepare for that shit. If he went in there and started running a completely different offense that they did not spend time working on, that's how you throw people off. But if you want to live and die with, oh, I don't prefer to do this. That's not my MO to do that. Well, then you're going to lose. That's football. You got to do stuff that makes you uncomfortable, even as a coach. You have to have that ability to be nimble there. I don't buy that crap, man. Personally, I don't buy that crap. Oh, I don't want my quarterback to run. Oh, I don't want to switch the quarterback right now. Anyway, coaches do this all the time. All the time. You have yeah, it's uncomfortable. And yeah, you're gonna have to go back and Quinn Ewers is gonna be upset. Or somebody like, yo, why'd you bench me? You don't think Lincoln Riley had to do some damage control with Caleb Williams when he benched him during Baylor when they were at OU together? Did that player still not follow him to USC? You don't think, like, seriously, you don't think that Lincoln Riley had damage control to do with Caleb? Like, Caleb Williams wasn't like, yo, like, you really sat me? Yes, I'm trying to win the damn game. That's my job. And you were trash today. I love you. I want you to play better. We'll work on it. We'll find out what happened. But you were trash. And we couldn't move the ball. So I put somebody else in. That's my job as the coach. I got to read the room. Coaching, somebody said this on Twitter and I agree with it. Nash, let me know when you back up. Coaching is
Is
not
my
just,
audio not?
hey, can you hear? I can hear you fine.
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, cool.
This shit's bugged, or was.
I'm gonna finish my point real quick, Nash, and I'm gonna hand it off to you, okay? Coaching isn't just X and O's, especially as a head coach. You have to feel the game and understand, oh, like they showed the stat. Excuse me. Did anybody see the stat today? The first quarter, it was the least yards combined in a Big 12 game. I think, what was that?
It was -1.
Like
-1
in the first quarter, and for the team, for the both teams, it was 39 yards total. Like it was the only game. It was the least yards I think by any team in FBS so far this year for one quarter. Like it was tragically bad for both sides, right? At that point, if I came into this game expecting to coach a game as if it was going to be a 42-38 type game, right? If I expected that, then I need to adjust what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? I got to walk that back. So why are we able to read the room and say, you know what, this game right now is it's not what we prepare for. Let's pivot. But anyway, that's my 2 cents on everything, yo. Nash, I'm gonna give it to you, brother.
Sorry if I'm messing around, but dude. Oh, hold on. Let me go get the white noise out of here. Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
He's getting the white noise out, folks.
I'm
Thank
in
you,
this
sir.
hot ass room, but
no worries.
Yeah, I mean this game was just we were so I'm pathetic. I immediately jumped to the Kieran. Oh, don't put me up while I'm doing it. But like no, you can put me up, man. But like that was the first thing my brain went to was. But it's not pathetic. I'm trying to think. It's just like we had no like it was such a lack of anything. Like there was nothing. There was you could. It was so bad. Like it wasn't like an interception or anything like this. It was just like it was so just anemic is the word I think I'm trying to come up with. I was at the third quarter. I was just sitting there. I'm doing I'm still recording the videos I do. You know the sights and sounds, and I'm just
Yep.
flat face. I could care less what happens. I could care like when we when we get the fumble. I was like, I mean, obviously I was happy, right? But I was just like, I mean, what's the point? Just to get our hopes up? And it just this game, there was a point where I just stopped caring completely from what, like, totally.
What? So let's talk about that because I know it's frustrating because of the way our team is built. However, we were in the game, like technically. Now I know when it was 17-3, it was brutal. The Jade Barron return for a touchdown, that was a gift for Max Duggan. Let's call a spade a spade. But I felt like defensively, I was really enjoying at least them trying to fight, trying to stay in the game. So I want to be fair to that side, but because of the way our team is built, because of the hype around this game, because of the crowd, this was a letdown. And I'm with you, man. Like it feels like they failed us. The
It,
recruiting. I mean, some of the names that are being brought up in the chat, whether it's Great House, DeAndre Moore, some of these names right now. I mean, Nash, here's a stat for you. You're normally a stat guy. I'll give you a damn stat. Three
hit me.
people on Texas caught a pass today. How about that? We had three people catch a pass
Can I tell you?
in a Division One football game, and we're not like Navy or Army or like old school like Paul Johnson like Georgia Tech, bro. Like we are a Steve Sarkisian led offense, and three people: Xavier Worthy, Jordan Whittington, and Jatavian Sanders. We're the only three people that caught a football. We started the game 0 for 7. I think it was 0 for 7 and a pick. I don't
I
know.
mean, and like there was a play that it was right in front, like it was smack dab right in front of me. Bijan's, and I hope there's no echo right now, but Bijan was wide open, and Ewers threw the ball to the guy, to Sanders underneath, and like in the moment when we saw the ball coming because they were at the same angle, everybody around me, we all were thinking he threw that ball to Bijan. It's just wide open. We got a touchdown. And then we see the ball go down to Sanders, to two guys right on him, and we're like, "What?" Like it was just like we all stopped to look at each other, like, "Did you just see that happen?" And it's just like, to add to your stat right there, because I was looking at CBS. I love how CBS CBS box score outdoes ESPN's. They they showed the targets as well. I love me some targets. This is, I swear this has to be the
Oh, let's
first
pull
game
it
that we
up.
saw.
I'm gonna pull it while you're talking. Let's pull it up. Let's pull up the CBS box. I'll grab it.
Here, give me 1 minute. Sorry, I got 1 second.
No, no problem. While he's doing that, I'll pull up the CBS box score. Um, we had It's not a joke. I'm not joking. I didn't make that up. We had three people catch a pass today, like a completed pass in a D1 football game. Um, I mean, y'all tell me what to do with that. I want to know. I'm starting. I want serious answers. So let's go here. I want serious answers on these receiver rotations. I know one of them. The commentators tried to say that, and I thought they were correct. Where Brendan Thompson came in, I think he turned the wrong way, or something to that effect. Um, but damn, Izzy really did get knocked out. I didn't even see that. This brother got knocked out the week Black Panther 2 comes out. We are down bad as a people right now. Shout out to Alex Pereira. Izzy really did get knocked out. Shit. Can't get knocked out with Wakanda Forever coming out too, my brother. Collectively down bad. Anyway, that's not what y'all are here for. Let me go to the CBS box one. Mm, mm, mm. Where is this? Because we need to dive into some of these numbers. My numbers gang out there. There we go. Try to make sure none of this nonsense noise pops up. See how I can get this over to you guys. Okay. All right, we're about to pull this up. Gray Man, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. He said, okay, we got Nash back as well. So Great Man said, how good will Quinn be? Most talented arm I've seen in a while. Quinn will be as good as much as he cares to be as much as he cares about football. Hey, I agree. And look, we anybody can speculate what they want about Quinn. Whether you want to talk about study habits, whether you want to talk about football IQ, any of those things. Over time, only one person can answer that question, and it's Quinn Ewers. To me, it's not even Steve Sarkisian because Steve Sarkisian has shown there's evidence of what he's done with quarterbacks from a cerebral standpoint. With Quinn, it's really, really on him. And for me, I put this year more on the coaches because Quinn has only been here a certain amount of time. And you have a Bijan, you have a Roshan, you have an offensive line that's playing pretty good. I think you can duct tape an offense that can be better than this. Honest with these weapons, you can. College football is not like you see people running simplified bullshit all over the place, scoring points. So I don't want to hear about. Oh well, Sark. This kind of goes back to my mo rant with Sark. Well, my offense is complicated. Well, you need to scale your offense for your personnel. So right now, consider him a baby, but hey, he can do this, this, and this. So that's what we're going to build around. I will say this though, in terms of Quinn Ewers and where he definitely owns this. What are you doing to get better throughout the week? What are you doing to be better timing with your receivers? Nash, when we have group projects, when we were in school, right, and we had group projects, my name mattered to me, bro. That's one reason why I mostly got good grades throughout school was because I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't want to go out there and we got up there and we clearly we're doing our group project and we're clearly not on the same sheet of music, right? Whether it was my fault or not, my name is on the project. The project therefore cannot be trash.
Your name is attached to it, and so
My name
it's
is
a
attached
reflection
to
of
it.
you.
So at this point, regardless of Steve, this needs to be Quinn Ewers' offense. You need to take ownership of it. And you need to work in conjunction of understanding and being locked in with Steve this offseason. Yes, you need to get to the point where you're able to problem solve, or else you're not the guy that everybody said you were, and you're just a nice arm. Brock Heward made an analogy last week that was so spot on that it scared me. And some of you guys are not old enough to remember this person. But and Gray Man, thank you for the super chat because you just led us into a whole other discussion point. He compared Quinn Ewers to Jeff George. And I didn't even go through Twitter to see how people felt about that comp. But I'm old enough to remember Jeff George. And for those who don't know, I'll give you a quick background. Jeff George was a number one overall pick, I believe in 1990, if I'm not mistaken, to the Indianapolis Colts. And Brock Heward was, in my opinion, correct in saying Jeff George had a top 5 arm ever in NFL history. He could put the ball wherever the hell he wanted to. And he played a long time, played for the Minnesota Vikings, played for the Atlanta Falcons, played for the Washington football team at the time when they were the Redskins. Like, Jeff always had a job because Jeff could put the ball wherever he wanted to. But Jeff, you could always tell, did not like football. I'm gonna say that again. When you looked at Jeff's face, the reason why most people don't know who Jeff George is because he did not give a damn about football. He was a pretty arm, and for half a season or for a few games, he could get you by. That's what Brock Heward said, not me. That's not my comp. But I thought about it and I said, in terms of the delivery, the way he holds the ball, it's almost the same. The way he can flick it, it's literally Jeff George. However, I'm like, I pray for Quinn's sake, he is not Jeff George up here, or else that's a big problem. Because that tells me you don't like football.
Yeah,
You're just out there to spin it and make money. That's a problem, right? Like, I need you to get to the point where you are taking ownership of problem solving in the offense. You understand your checks. You understand your protections. You understand where to go with the football in your progressions. And you're able to maximize this offense. And if you make a mistake, you're making a mistake because you put too much on your plate versus, oh, I'm stuck on my primary. I'm trying to work the ball to X again. And I know that's a lot to say about a 19-year-old freshman. And I'm not saying but it's scary when those of you who are old enough to remember how good Jeff George was as a thrower, but he didn't care about football, clearly, with how he played for however long he played. But Nash, I'll hand it over to you because I did get the box score up for CBS.
So just to add on to what you just said real quick, because I love to make this point all the time, and like talking about like with fantasy football people and all that stuff. Quinn Ewers, he has all the arm talent in the world. He does. But the reality is, and this is just a simple fact. There are far more people in the world than half the starting NFL quarterbacks that have better arms. They have a better arm. They can put the ball somewhere where half these guys in the NFL, they can't do it. Why aren't they starting quarterbacks? Here. Why, like, so, and to really further to drive it home, look at from Austin Westlake, one of the greatest quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. And you could just go to recent years. Just add recent years to the end of that sentence. Drew Brees. Did he have an amazing arm that's just going to blow you away? No, he didn't.
Never did. Not even at Purdue. Like he threw a good ball at Purdue, but it was never, oh my, or else he would have been a first round pick. Drew Brees wasn't even a first round pick.
And to go, and you've heard y'all heard me say this in the group chat many times. Steve Sarkisian, and this is where I don't have this understanding of football, and I need to get this understanding of football. But it feels like just off a hunch, it feels like Sark has to adjust his offense to Quinn Ewers. And what I mean by that is early on, like I would always say, there's a wide receiver open every single route for Quinn Ewers. It doesn't matter who it is, there's one guy open. And this is the thing that I always saw with Mac Jones, why Mac Jones looked so good at Alabama to me, was Mac Jones was so efficient at finding who that guy was so frequently. And to your point earlier right here, what you said about the stats, look at the targets. I mean, this is the first time that you've had triple-digit or double-digit targets to all three of those guys. And here's what blows me away. And this is criminal. Not a single one to Bijan. Not a single target to Bijan Robinson. To our best player. Like I don't think I'm stepping out of line when I say he's the top dog. Like when it comes to who should eat first, it's Bijan Robinson. like not getting him the ball as a pat, not even not getting him the ball, not trying to get him the ball. That's what bothers me when I look at these stats. That's the part that bothers me.
So Ty said Bryce Young right now. That's a great Bryce Young too, guys. Here's the thing. I know it seems like it seems like we're talking about a player that's. I'll bring that one up a little bit later, but let's focus on Bryce Young for a second. Bryce Young, ATS, correct me if I'm wrong, competed against Mac Jones for the starting job as a true freshman at Bama in 2020, right? As a true freshman. In 2021, as a, whether you want to say redshirt freshman or sophomore or whatever, his second year in college, he was in the national championship game, Heisman winner, and was already one of the most cerebral players in college football last season. And we're talking about guys that Sark recruited, including Drake May at North Carolina, by the way, who was another guy that Sark recruited and is balling over there. So these are guys that are very high end cerebral players. Arch Manning, high end cerebral players. I'm not ready to say, oh, we got the noise up. What is this? There we go. 100% your love. Anyway, those aren't guys that are, just all arm or whatever. I'm not ready to say that Quinn can't get there. But the time stuff, I must keep saying this in college football. You don't have as much time as you think you do. Period. This defense right now, I can't sit up here and say it's going to be like this in 2023. This defense is not going to be this good in 2023. It's not. With what we're losing, unless there's people coming in from the portal or other aspects coming in, I mean, damn. But like we've seen younger players cook or players with this on at the same age cook. Right? Lando said most quarterbacks don't overcome 2 yards per carry and 5 drops. Well, the yards per carry, yes. A, we didn't run the football enough. Yards per carry was an issue. The reason, though, I disagree with this comment, though, because the defense was designed for this. They set the defense up for the quarterback to beat them because they knew he wasn't going to beat them. The drops were a problem. Jalil Billingsley can't drop the ball. Xavier Worthy. We want to talk about you a number one receiver in college football, brother. And you this, you that, we this. Brother, I don't even see him fighting for the ball the way I used to see him fighting for the ball. If we're keeping it a buck. I would at least give me an offensive pass interference or something for you trying to get to the ball. Because I see you, every time I see him running, it looks like he has a hamstring issue, but I know he doesn't. Now he's a baller. X is a bad boy. He gets the touchdowns and all that. He's a baller, no question. Jatavian Sanders dropped one that he normally catches. Should have caught that. The drops are an issue. However, even with the drops and with the running game as it was, the defense was set up for Quinn to eat this, and he missed everything. We can't make excuses.
No,
Can't
we
make
can't.
excuses when Drake May is at North Carolina cooking. I'm sorry. There's too many. There's other young boys. Bryce Young, if you give Bryce Young these same looks, yes, with 2 yards per carry and 5 drops, he's cooking as a freshman.
Well,
As a freshman. Or else, Landon and everybody else, then you're saying that Quinn Ewers is not on that level. That's what you're telling me. So basically what we're saying is if he can't overcome that with the way the defense is playing him, and because of the scenario, then he is not the highly touted guy that those guys are because they are able to overcome those things. And they've been proving that. And he's struggling with basic stuff. That's why I'm like, to me, Hudson Card wins this game. To me, and Hudson Card doesn't process things that quickly, but I know he can consistently hit
I,
stuff and move the chains.
even
But
if even if it was just the same, his added legs win the game. To me, the most worrisome thing that I saw tonight from Quinn Ewers, like watching Quinn Ewers play quarterback, felt like because I used to play It felt like when I used to play Madden, and I'd see a guy running wide open, and I'd throw the ball late, and then it gets picked off or something. But like it would feel too often. He'd see a guy open, and once you see a guy's open, it's too late. You've missed your chance then, And it felt like that. So because here's the other deal: the 5 drops. How many times did not Worthy Ewers put them in contested catch situations where they really have no chance at succeeding? And I said this. We said this in one of our get-togethers that we did here on your channel, and it was that one performance. Okay, he can have that one. He can have that 38% stinker, right? But not again. He can't have it again, and he can't have it quickly, in quick succession. It's just good. The reality is, good quarterbacks play good. It's as simple as that. And I'm not saying that Quinn can't be a good quarterback, but I'm saying right now he's not. From
he's a
what
good
it's literally just
good
ball doesn't lie.
prospect with a really good arm.
Yes.
But to me, quarterback play, like Trevor Lawrence is, to me, I've never looked at Trevor Lawrence as a generational arm ever. I know some people felt that way. I never felt that way. But what I did see with Trevor Lawrence at a very, very young age was when he stepped in for Clemson, he could do things that were more advanced than what his age predicated, right? Like he could process things in a very different manner and understand what the defense was giving him. And I never, ever, ever saw Trevor Lawrence air mailing as many throws as we see right now. You so it's also a standpoint of consistency, right? Like we have to stop with the excuses. And my thing is, when I say stop with the excuses, it's like all I'm asking for is I just want to see what Hudson Card would have looked for 2 series in the third quarter, whatever. And if he doesn't look good, you put Quinn back in. I'm not saying play. That's what or else you end up like you are, where you're 11-11 as a head coach and you're 6-4 this year with a roster that shouldn't be 6-4. This roster should not be 6-4 if you knew if you had told me the defense would play at the level this defense is playing at. This defense got 14 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and a touchdown, and they lost.
First time since 2016, by the way.
They lost, and their corner didn't even play.
And
what are we talking about? We guys, we can't sit up here and say, "Oh, growing pains for Quinn," but y'all told me he was the savior. Y'all told me we were going to average 35, 38 every week. Y'all told me if we had Quinn, we would have beat Tech.
The deep ball.
Y'all said that. Our deep ball passing game is worse than when we had Casey Thompson. Way worse. We complete nothing now.
It's bad.
Everything is 50 is 10 yards overthrown. Or the receiver doesn't fight for it. It's not all on the quarterback. Everything is just like they don't complete anything downfield.
If it's not one thing, it's another.
They have more weapons than they did last year.
Like
I'm confused.
Dude, I said earlier, I'm sitting here, I'm legit. Like, this is a dead serious thing. When I see that ball hit a certain trajectory in the air, I've already written the play. Like I'm still recording the video, right? But I'm like it. Like if we catch it, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like Vince Young just crossed the goal line because it's something I had never seen before, and to just try, because I really want to get this guy's name out there before I forget it at some point. Number 8. Man, stepping up for Jameson. I thought Watts was going to be covering Johnston.
Give Terrence Brooks his love. Good job.
Brooks went out there.
Terrence Brooks played well.
I was sitting there because I kept seeing 8. I'm like, 8's on Quentin. And then the fact that Quentin's that dude. He still had himself a nice old day, right? But the fact that he wasn't just out there just raw dogging us because that's what you would expect with a guy like Brooks out there who's we haven't seen much from him. He's not a starter, right? Like you said earlier. This defensive performance was without one of our corners. Like, we had a bunch of question marks in the air.
I was freaking out. Nash knows this. Lando in the chat knows this. We were freaking the F out before the game when we were hearing about who was playing and who wasn't. And look, Terrence Brooks on short notice, and I said this when he had to play before. I think it was the Iowa State game where he got to play, and he didn't play great. And I was like, I think with Terrence Brooks, if he knows before the game that he's going to play, I think he looks different. And I feel like I was right there. It's a mentality. Like, he knew today, okay, I think like either last night or the night before he was probably going to start. Completely different mentality. And you saw that with his physicality, tackling, everything. Ryan Watts brought that energy, tackling, physicality. Jahdae Barron, I made a tweet, looked like the Incredible Hulk blowing up a double team. It's paining me to bring these names up in the performance that they had because they deserve to win. Mm-hmm. They were ready for not only that, but let's also talk about this. Somebody tweeted me and was like, well, TCU had a veteran quarterback. Shut up. Max Duggan was trash too. Shut up. Max Duggan was trash today.
Garbage.
He was trash. He looked scared. He was overwhelmed by our pass rush. He missed throws all game long. Savion was wide open multiple times on the boundary, and he airmailed the ball into the stands. Now, and he turned the ball over to keep us in the game. Or else it really should have been 17-3. Max Duggan was trash. So don't sit up here. I'm not buying the whole, well, Steve, they had a veteran quarterback and we had a guy that couldn't play. Max Duggan was bad too. Okay. Now, Miller and eventually DeMercado, they ran the ball well enough to where that was a substantial difference. But Max Duggan wasn't out here. Like, he didn't normally. How many years has Max Duggan just beat us with his legs, Nash, and ran all over the place? We didn't see that today. We were all over that.
I mean, we were like, this is what I loved about because this is like, and I noticed it in the pregame, and it's one of those things that you hate to even think it really, because you're like, okay, you're being that guy. You're being that guy, Nash. Like, come on now. Like, quit sipping the Kool-Aid like that. But I was just watching them bounce around in the pregame warmups, right? And just this swag and confidence, right? And I was like, yeah, man, like those dudes, they don't because I was trying to I was trying to see because that is literally the precise moment when when I was finding out when I saw somebody said Barron isn't. I'm like, what? Barron's not playing? I was like, that's when I was like glued to the sideline. I'm like, what, like looking for the cornerback group, but I was like, I was liking what I was seeing, and especially at a cornerback, that's one of those positions that you have to have that mentality. Like at wide receiver and cornerback, if you don't think you're the baddest MF on the field every single snap,
You have to have that mentality.
you have to have it. Otherwise you're gonna fail. You have to be like every wide receiver has to be that guy saying, "Yo, coach, I was open. You got to give me that ball. You got to give me the ball more." And something that you said earlier, in the college game, you got to the clock is faster, right? The college game, you don't have to be as intricate and detailed. You
You
don't
mean
have to
the
make
pro
stuff as
game
complex
versus?
as the
I know
NFL.
what you mean, like the pro game versus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's literally it's as simple as speed. And the fact that we have literally Ferraris, like supercars, sitting there, and Keelan Robinson and Brennan Thompson, and we're barely using those guys, that drives me up the wall.
Keelan had a big kick return today,
Mhm.
and
The
then
that was to really that was also one that helped, like, get the crowd juiced back up, like, saying, "Hey, we still have a chance. We don't, but we still have a chance."
so he had a big kick return, and then the rest of the game, whatever snaps he was in there, he was just out there for the cardio.
I'm gonna be so mad if I'm right tomorrow and I look on the PFF snaps and I see Ajay Hall has 2 snaps. Like, that's another thing that drives me nuts.
Talked about
Like,
it.
and that's something that goes to your point about the you gotta
I,
check the offensive coordinator in you. You gotta be the head coach and say, "Hey, Sark, we got red shirts here. Like, unless you're like, is there a purpose for
why
you
is he going
having
on
them
the
on the
field?
field? Is there a purpose? Or are you just throwing them on the field for throwing them on the field's sake?" And
Is anybody?
it
Did
was
anybody?
and
I want to. I want to know if they're asking these questions. I'm gonna text some people I know in the media that are good, and see if they can help us out with some questions here about the red shirts, because I've said this before and I'll say it again. Don't play me if I'm a freshman and you're gonna throw me out there for 2 snaps and burn my red shirt. That's bullshit. This goes back to Matt Brown doing it to Tyrone Swoops in the TCU game to come in and take a knee and burned his red shirt. Like, don't do dumb stuff like that. If you're gonna put me in, I need to be in, bro. Like, if you said Ajay Hall, everybody's saying Ajay Hall played today. Now, granted, we know they get 4 games, right? And Ajay Hall, I think, had played. How many games had he played up to today?
I can find that. He's already burned the shirt though.
Ajay Hall's, but they said he was redshirting. I don't think he's played 4 games, Nash. And we know he played the Tech game. Did he
No,
play the
I'm
game
thinking.
before
Hold
Tech?
on, that's my bad. I'm thinking Brenton Thompson. I was thinking Brenton Thompson
Oh
for a
no,
second.
Brenton Thompson's red shirt's burned. We know his
Mhm.
red shirt is burned, and I believe Savion Red's red shirt is burned. But if with Ajay Hall, right? Like, let's say that they held him out today and they held him out next week, then you know you can play him the Baylor game and the bowl game, and not like what my thing is. You only get 4, and I think we've seen him now 3 games.
He's in 3 games, so if he played
He's
today, he's
he's
burned.
so, but there's games where Brennan Thompson was in there for 2 snaps.
Well, and here's the
What's
other
the
deal.
point? What's the
Two of
point?
those games for Ajay Hall, he's had a total of 1 snap in each of those games.
Yeah, that's
He's had
bullshit.
9 snaps total.
That's
9
bullshit.
snaps total, 7 snaps against, I think, Texas Tech it was. Yeah. I mean, this is where, like, I'm a very big Sark guy. I and it pains me to to get to come to not conclusion, but, like, like, come to
Know what you
terms.
mean?
Like, this is criminal. This is criminal misuse of the roster.
No, Brennan Thompson did play today. I thought he did. I thought Brennan Thompson did play today. Did he? Did he not? Let's see. We got the box score up here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he got a
Brennan
target.
Thompson Brennan Thompson, because that was the route where they said he cut inside and he was supposed to go outside or something like that. I think Brennan Thompson played today. So his red shirt is burned. Brennan Thompson's on the box score. And they talked about him on the broadcast when they said that he ran his route the wrong, Quinn threw it one way and he ran. Yeah, multiple. Yeah, Brennan Thompson played today. His red shirt is burned.
Oh, it was
His red
already
shirt
burned.
is burned.
Yeah, he was burned already.
He's burned. So if you're burning people's red shirts, why aren't they playing?
Why not? Like, here's the other thing.
This makes no sense.
With all the wasted plays, all the wasted plays we've had in the last few weeks. Sark, you were telling me you cannot just mix in a little, just a little. You love the motion, guys. Come on, you just send them on a motion and boop. You just boop the ball to him right there, and see and send him to the place where Jordan Whittington is at, right? Like it's just like this is like I feel like this is not rocket science here. Because I always go back to it's a two-word saying, speed kills. Because there's like you go back to like that Buffalo Bills versus Kansas City. There's literally either you got it or you don't when it comes to speed.
Nash, hang on one second. So last comment we just got was from Hostile Actual. Sark is still figuring out how to be a head coach. Meanwhile, TCU was supposed to be garbage. As shout out to our brother Trey out there, who's 6-6 was what Trey said that he thought TCU was going to be. I'm a hold Trey to that. Although Trey's going to get to come on and do his victory lap. We're going to let Trey come on and give his sermon and, hopefully try to convert you guys to the spirit of Christ as you should. And, we'll do the whole thing. But Hostile said with the new coach, year one, taking over 5-7 TCU, they're now 10-0. Now, Sark is still figuring out how to be a head coach. This is why I am holding Sark to a different level of account. Now, I'll put it this way before I raise my voice. Had Sark been only a hot shot, up and coming coordinator at Alabama and never coached at Washington as a head coach, had never coached at USC as a head coach, I would have a different energy right now. But I'm going to share this with you guys, okay? And this is just for us to understand that we need to ask questions. I'm not saying anybody should lose their job. I want to be very, very, very clear, okay? But let's look at this, gang. This man has 102 games as a head coach in college football. What is he learning? 102 games as a head coach. Now he lost tonight, so it's 11. It's going to go to 11-11, so it's 103 now, right? What are we learning as a head coach? You've coached 103 games as a head coach. Other coaches in this sport do not get this type of grace and benefit of the doubt, by the way, with that many games in. If, again, like I'm saying, if this was his first time as a head coach, when we're talking about roster management, feel for game, blown leads, the whole bit, if this was their first time as a head coach, I would feel differently. You have coached 103 football games as a head coach. You have now coached 22 of them at the University of Texas. Yes, I'm concerned. Yes, I'm concerned. This is this is just the facts, bro.
And
It's not me trying to be a dick. Nash, you're not trying to be a dick. We
no, I
like
mean,
Sark.
I'm a,
This is the facts.
it's last stand hats,
103 games.
code fanatic, right there. But I mean, here's the deal. Like, this is something that I didn't notice until you just pulled that chart, and it's sad. It makes me sad. If we go 7-6, which could that very well could happen, 7-6 this year. His first 2 years at Texas are the exact same first 2 years at Washington, 5-7, 7-6.
Nash, that's with a defense that went from everyone saying Pete Kwiatkowski is trash at 100 whatever to now the defense rankings are going to go up after today, Nash.
And here's the deal. Okay, I'm gonna
defense.
Hey, I'm gonna stand on.
What do you need?
I'm gonna hop on my little preacher's box here for a second, because I said early on in the year that this could be a top 25 defense, and to me, because Pete Kwiatkowski, it always made sense to me. His philosophy was, look, because the explosive plays, the 20+ yard plays, those are the plays that score. And that's one of the reasons why I was so excited for Sark, and that's one of the reasons why I'm so bummed about Sark recently, is we haven't seen these explosive plays that we seem to see almost every single play at Alabama. Now, to go back to PK, when you're limiting these explosive plays, right, and you harden up in the red zone, and you just let up field goals, okay, take the field goal, right? We'll stop you. Take the field goal, we'll stop you. And then eventually you're just going to get tired. You're going to get tired from having to drive down the field so much and you run so many plays. And it's almost worked like that last part almost works against them, because the offense has been so bad that they're handing the ball to the other offense, and then that's actually working against you because you're getting those so many plays still. But his defense, Kwiatkowski's defense, it always made sense theoretically, and it always came down to, can the players execute the defense? Because if the players can do their job, then that defense is going to be legit. And what we're seeing this year is the players are doing their job. And you look at last year, we thought last year the defensive line, we thought that was going to be one of the strongest units on the field, and it was a very lackluster unit. But to you and Kieran's credit, who's in charge of that front seven group? PK. And what group? Because there's three specific names that stand out to me when you're talking about the rush defense, and those names are Keandre Coburn, Tavondre Sweat, and Jalen Ford. Like, those three dudes have earned themselves some legit money this year. And this is one area where I'm actually going to be very interested to see how Sark can handle this, because this has been an area I think that's kept Texas from kept Texas on the launch pad, so to speak.
So Nash,
too many times have we had guys like a little Jordan Humphrey leave when, dude, you just need to come back one more year. Too many times we have guys leaving too early, and I wonder can he change that? Can he change that culture of guys wanting to leave to the NFL too early before they're properly developed? Now, there's a whole rabbit hole that you can go on with the development aspect on why they were wanting to leave early, but that's an issue that I mean, we can't have, like, for example, a Jahdae Barron, right? We can't have him if he gets told, look, you got a borderline grade. We can't have him going, you know what? I'd rather roll my dice and hope I get drafted than come back and try and play myself into a draftable year. And I'm literally just using Jade's name as a just a random name, but
I
that's
want
one
to
area
address,
that I want to see.
I want to address Freddie's comment. And look, it's cool. We all disagree, and we're frustrated about the loss. And I know there's again, my thing is the people and Freddie, you let me know what your prediction for the season was beforehand because I'm gonna get to a point here. Look, I respect the 8-4 people. I respect the realists out there. I'm typically a realist. I know I drank Kool-Aid. I own that shit this week, a whole bit. Drew said it's a bad loss. We need to chill. We need to chill within context, but context is very important here. Context is what makes college football college football. What do I mean by that? When we picked this team to be 8-4, we did not know that we were going to get this type of performance from the defense. And injuries and all these other things come into play as well. But we have to understand that the opportunities that this team has been gifted this year, literally handed to them, and they squander it. That's like you're giving up games because of you're getting in your own way. It's not because, oh, we're 8-4 because there's two or three teams better than us like physically and have better personnel and we got to pass them. No, once we started seeing the games happen and now we've watched football, and yes, TCU is 10-0. Okay? I'm not trying to take anything away from TCU right now. 10-0. There's a lot of players on their team I like. A lot of players. Hodges Tomlinson, great corner. 5'9" dog. Reminds me of an old boy from Louisiana Tech that we faced a few years ago that took away Malcolm Epps. Like dog, love him. He got after Xavier Worthy. But when
Mhm.
football starts, bro, go say that to an LSU fan because somebody just brought up Harold Perkins, right? Once the games start, and you start to realize week to week what these people can and cannot do to your team and how you match up against them and what the circumstances are and the gifts that are given to you within the game. And it's like, wow, if we just stay out of our own way, we win the game. That's where frustration comes in. So it's the context of the game. It's not just saying we can't just throw our hands up blindly and say, well, we wanted to be 8-4 and make it to a bowl game. Let's be satisfied.
Well, and that wasn't even the goal. Like, I mean, like, here's
Well, let's say it was, but hypothetically, let's say the goal was 8-4. Let's say it was, Nash. People assumed that the offense would not be the issue. It would be 8-4 because we can't stop it because we couldn't stop somebody and we had a freshman that was doing a whole bunch of stuff. Like people thought Quinn would be throwing for like 30 touchdowns and like 13, 14 picks,
300
right?
yards a game.
300 yards. I don't think he's had a 300-yard passing game yet.
No, he has. No, he hasn't.
And we have one receiver on our team with two. We have Worthy and Whittington that have more than 100 yards receiving this year. I don't think we have a third person over 100 yards in the receiver room that's over 100. And yes, that is a Brendan Marion question. And yes, I did hear Rob Babers get on Brennan's ass today, and it is valid because the receiver room has taken a step back and they've got some bad luck. Yes. And yes, Jatavian Sanders and those tight ends have taken away targets and yards. Yes. But we have two people in the receiver room over 100 yards on the season.
I mean, we were like to
Throw
your
game is
point.
not good right now, y'all. Like, period. Throw game is not consistent. We don't hit anything downfield. This is context. None of us thought this defense would be this good. I never thought I would see my team lose a game where we had 14 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and a touchdown on defense. No. At home with that crowd. Some of you in this chat were at the game. You tell me if you told me we got that crowd with that defense How the hell are you losing this? Y'all,
I mean,
you shouldn't lose.
no, no. I mean, like I was there, and here's the deal. I've been you know me. I've been quick to call out the fans on leaving early and all that stuff, right? The fans, they stayed and they stayed in it until literally the drive before, when we messed up the drive before we got the fumble and ran it back. Up until then, like 80% of the people had stayed, and they were loud too. They were cheering the entire time. Like, it was one of these moments where it was one of these deals where it was like, okay, we're gonna have faith in you. We're just gonna keep on backing you, right? We're gonna have faith that you're gonna get this third down stop. You're gonna hand that ball over to the offense, and they're gonna finally, it's gonna happen. It's gonna finally break, right? The dam's gonna break. The ice, whatever, and it just never ever did. But credit to the fans, they stay, because even when that, I'll say it, when that thing happened, the fumble, and the fans that were left over, I mean, it felt like it was only like 60% of the stadium, and I feel like that felt like the loudest part, one of the loudest parts of the game, because like it was just like like the entire, we had been sitting there for 4 hours, hadn't had really anything to really, like real general, genuine excitement, and then all of a sudden we get something, yeah, finally football, but like and here's the other deal that I appreciate about Sark. He's not like this like other guys that we've had where they will keep on moving the goalpost and say, "Oh, well, that wasn't the goal, that wasn't success." He
Thank you.
goes out
Thank
there
you,
like,
Gray Man. Thank you, Gray Man. Appreciate I'm sorry, Nash. I just want to
you're
appreciate
good.
the super chat. No, but thank you for the super chat. Go ahead, Nash. Thank you.
I was just saying, I heard him on the radio, and he first thing he goes, "This is on me." I didn't, whether it was one thing or another, whether it was always one thing, and if it's not that thing, it's another thing, right? But that's on me. I got to have the guys ready. And if there's one good thing about, if there's one bright light about Sark, it's the fact that it's fixable. I mean, literally, like, it feels like it's as simple as him just starting to check himself. But it's a matter of if that light bulb comes on. If that light bulb comes on and he's able to start checking himself as a head coach, I mean, this guy,
And
yes.
it's week to week, Nash. It's not the same solution. There's not a silver bullet in football. That's the beauty of the game, right? Like there's a different it's a different equation you have to solve for each week depending on the opponent, the circumstances, the situation, the emotion, where you are, what juice your team has, what juice your team has and what juice your team doesn't have. And in today's case, he had to realize very quickly to me, Sonny Dykes and Sark are both offensive minded guys. They talk about Sonny Dykes hates to punt, or hates to kick field goal. Like there was one situation where Sonny Dykes, like I even texted you. I was like, "Yo, he needs to punt this because he needs to understand to play the field position game." And I think Sonny even had to call a timeout, and then ultimately he punted it, and that's when their guy got it at the 1 yard line for
Mhm.
where we had to start. But it was the right decision because based upon game flow, I can't go my whole typical air raid tempo, blah blah blah. The way the game now as an OC, I'm always going to be that because that's how my mind is wired. But as a head coach, my job is to win the game by any means. Do y'all hear me? As a head coach, my job is to do the best I can to win the game by any means. So I need to be prepared. If there's a monsoon that comes, my
And
quarterback gets hurt, my left tackle goes down, anything happens, I have to be prepared to play left handed and say, you know what? We're going to be a little conservative right now, but conservative is going to keep me alive in this football game. Not everything has to be all gas, no brakes, and be risky. I know I said we were going to go all gas, no brakes before the game started. But once you're in the game, you must analyze and adjust. You must analyze and read the room and understand that you notice things. Nash, we were all texting each other. This punter is flopping. This punter is baiting these refs.
They got that boy off
Turn
the
off
soccer
punt
field.
block.
they
Turn
put
it
him straight on the
off.
soccer field.
It's sketchy right now. And look, I hear y'all. Hey, we needed a big play, and I get it. There's time and a place for everything.
No,
But
I
right
could
there,
see the mindset behind what he was saying. Right, that's what I was saying. I agreed with what you were saying, but I could see where he was coming from. I could
yeah,
see it
I
like
need a
the
start. I'm
offense
gonna
was
go punt block.
so stagnant, but at the same time, I was sitting there. I'm thinking, dude, this offense is so stagnant. I don't care where you get the ball.
I,
I don't care where. Like you need to start turning to field goal Freddie, man. You know the old Fred
I hear
Akers.
you.
I mean, but and
Oh, I want to address Drew's comment because
oh,
Drew, thank you for being so gracious in the chat. Gray man, thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate it. Nash, if you don't mind, we can go 15 more minutes and wrap this up because we're about to get
oh
past
yeah,
2
I'm
a.m.
good, bro. Whatever.
But there was a comment in here, and it was from you, Drew, where you said I had a point to make here. Okay, but no, it wasn't that one. But it was about TCU being the number 4 team in the country, and we needed to show. And in context, and I'm sure as we like branch further out, uh, that is true. However, yeah,
I
yeah,
can't.
Dykes wanted that penalty.
I mean,
That's that's the other thing. You got to be aware of the Dykes. See, but that Dykes, who was also a former offensive-minded OC, is acting like a head coach. And what is he spending his time doing? Nash, he's working the refs. So Dykes is anticipating, hey, Texas is going to try to come for this punt. Hey, don't let them hit my kicker. I want to penalty. If they touch my kicker, that's what you do, though. You got to play the game within the game. He's working the refs. I saw it too. Sonny Dykes was pulling the ref over like, yo, they trying to come for my guy. And then he's telling his kid, dude, if anybody gets near you, sell that shit.
yeah.
That's why I'm like, yo, even though we didn't touch him, it's a horrible call. It's a
At the
horrible call. He
worst
didn't
case, he
touch him.
flops.
But I'm just saying, I don't even want to get into this situation. I just want the ball.
Yeah.
Like, bump that right now.
I'm like I am fine. I am fine taking the possession away from you. I'm
Yeah, just give me the
that.
possession. I'll go punt safe right now.
It's you know what it's like. It reminds me of that quote. It's like when your opponent is making a mistake, don't
Let
interrupt
him.
them. You know, like
Right.
let them. And I do have a question for you in a minute.
Yeah, I wanted to get to this real quick. So, Drew said we lost the number 4 team in the country, and this leads me to a tweet I saw about Texas this year has lost to, I think at the time we played Bama, they were number 1. At the time we played
11,
Oklahoma
I think.
State, they were 11. So we've lost to like these high powered teams, right? And now TCU ranked number 4. Here's my thing though. That to me, we have to dive deeper than just that. Context matters. So let me
What
share
do
my
your eyes
screen
tell
real
you?
quick. Let me eye test doesn't lie, right? So if we look at the stats here, right? And we pull up TCU. Just look at the right side of my screen where it says TCU defense. These are their seasonal numbers before tonight. Look at the right side of my screen that says TCU defense. These are their seasonal numbers before tonight. So for the folks that say, well, we lost the number 4 team in the country, they've given up 28 points per game. That is 72 in the country.
And to your point
All their
earlier,
stats. Go ahead, Nash.
too, look at the top 4 left on the left. See, Drew, hold on. This is what we're talking about right here, okay? The top 4 on the left. That defense did that today.
Yeah.
Against
Great point,
that.
Nash.
Against that.
Great point,
That is a
Nash.
consensus top 10 team on offense. And I'm sorry if I'm getting loud.
Top 10 in all those metrics.
This was a championship defense. This is what we've been asking for. We've been begging for this as Texas fans. I'm sorry if I'm getting loud. I'm really sorry. But it just drives me up the wall. It just drives me up the wall. We've been begging for this. We had a 100th ranked defense last year in the run. In the top hundreds. Hundreds in the FBS. Not big, not Power 5. Power 5 only goes 64 teams. Hundreds. And we're out there. Yes, Kendra had a 74-yard run. I didn't get to see it. I don't know what the hell happened on that one. Outside of that, we did the damn thing against the run. This Keandre Coburn, Jalen Ford, Tavondre Sweat, all those names I brought up earlier, doing the damn thing. And the fact that we didn't win this game, doing what we did to that offense, criminal. And then Oklahoma State. I don't want to hear a damn thing. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear a damn thing about them being ranked 11th when we played them. Because like TCU today, we should have destroyed them. Should have, could have, would have.
Don't be surprised if TCU loses to Baylor next week.
No, I said that.
I know Baylor got their ass whooped.
It would piss me off. I want TCU to win. I want TCU to win. I want them to go and win the national championship now. But it ain't going to happen because what's going to piss me off the most is them losing next week and not making it into the playoffs. And then everything that just happened last night, was for nothing.
I mean, TCU's run defense. So we ran as a group today. If we look at if we go back to the other box score for Texas offense, I'll take out Quinn Ewers' sack yardage. So minus Quinn Ewers' sack yardage, Texas ran for, drum roll please, 43 yards. Did y'all hear that? 43 yards.
His sack yards don't even really affect Bijan. If you just go and look at Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson's numbers, they're not exactly stellar by any stretch of the imagination.
We ran for 43 yards against a team that was allowing 4.1 yards per rush and 73rd in the country in rush yards per game. They were allowing 153.5. We got 43. These are just the facts, right? So you think, okay, well, they shut down our run. We should eat in the pass. Look at this. Now this is where TCU, I will give them credit. Their top 10 in opponent's completion percentage, 54.9 is damn good. And you can tell why with how aggressive they are and how they fight for the ball. The rest of these statistics here, whether it's the amount of passes they see or yards they give up, it speaks for itself, does it not? They're also not high pressure. I know they got to our quarterback a couple times today, but there were several times where Quinn Ewers was able to pat the football multiple times, had more than enough time to set his feet and make a good throw in a clean pocket. And Cole Hudson, he had some issues at right guard today and was on the struggle bus and run and pass pro. But it wasn't enough to where we couldn't function as a team.
It was far from the worst spot on the offense.
These are the metrics, y'all. This is what. So when people say we were playing the number 4 team in the country. When Texas Homer does his breakdowns, when Vegas sets their numbers, when we watch the tape and we see what how these teams get exploited week over week. This defense, this isn't Bama. Far from it. I watched Texas Tech move the ball with the third string quarterback last week. I watched Rajic Thompson running all over the place on Texas Tech.
West Virginia put 31 up against them.
Stop it. Like, y'all. Y'all.
Tarleton put 17 points up. Tarleton.
That's the thing, man. It's once we got the film, once we see what's happening, we have to properly assess it. And so Steve Sarkisian, this is we are now, this is the reality because we have 4 minutes left. Texas is 6-4. Y'all hear me out because I don't even know if we're going to be ranked after this. I don't really care.
I wouldn't.
I don't even care. But they're 6-4 going to Lawrence, Kansas, who's also 6-4. Y'all hear me? We're 6-4. Like the Big 12 championship game is not out of reach, right? Like we said, TCU is clinched. So the key team to pay attention to right now, to me, is Kansas State for us to even have hope. Keep in mind, too, we are now behind Oklahoma State because we don't have the tiebreaker with them since we lost to them. So, and then Baylor, we still have to play Baylor. So we essentially, all these teams, we all need Kansas State to lose one of their next 2 games. Their next 2 games are West Virginia and Kansas. That's probably the most workable schedule you can ask for in the boat that they're in, but it's the Big 12. With that being said, you're still asking to trust this Texas team. This Texas team that you don't know what the hell's going to show up. Like, they could do anything in Kansas next week, Nash, and I wouldn't be surprised. They could go to Kansas next week and have a 70-point game. I wouldn't be surprised. They could go to Kansas next week and there's real locker room issues, and all of a sudden we're talking about a team that lost to Kansas 2 years in a row. That wouldn't surprise me either. I have no idea what to expect from them. And I think that's what frustrates a lot of us the most. This team
consistently inconsistent.
Consistently inconsistent.
I mean, it's like I mean, dude, this Kansas game is like you just said, literally you could tell me anything. You could after what we just saw today. Because literally every single narrative you could have put out almost got so TCU, fourth quarter team, doesn't score a single point in the fourth quarter. Okay? Yeah, we did get the fumble and that's how but outscored TCU in the fourth quarter. TCU, now Kendre Miller, yes, he is that dude, right? They broke the first 100-yard back against Texas all year long. That was the first time a back has rushed for more than 100 yards against Texas.
That was holding on the play he scored on, though. I will go to my grave with that. That was a bad hold.
I wasn't there. Hold on, wait.
Okay.
Wait, no, say what you said again. I wasn't there for the play.
I think it was Watts up top. Somebody up top, right when he got to the sideline and accelerated, it was crazy. It was like a jersey just getting undressed. Like it was a pretty clear. Like I felt like if Keelan Robinson had gotten that type of space and ran away, and Casey Kane grabbed somebody, they called that all day long, and it just felt like we didn't get that call on our end. That's what I saw. I thought there was holding for that play, but at the same token, there's an argument to be made about the the punt that they didn't call roughing on, that should have been roughing way earlier in the game, where Keaton Crawford really did kind of mess up the butter on that one. So it's one of those things, but I just thought on that Miller run it was a hole, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, I was just saying,
He's still
literally
a great player.
any sort of narrative or thing that you could have put and said, if this happens, Texas wins, or if X happens, whatever. Like, we basically hit everything like that, and the offense it was stagnant. It was, I mean, it's like I said to Trey in the group chat. Quinn Ewers was their best player on defense.
I'm gonna ask one question so we can bounce, Nash.
Mm-hmm.
And guys, make sure you follow Nash Talks Texas on YouTube. If you're not following already, he's working all through the night to get us, everything, all the clips and rewatches and just the entire bit. So Nash, thank you for everything that you do for us in the Texas community. And it's frustrating to lose a game like the manner in which we lost. I don't have a problem losing to a number 4 team in the country in TCU. But when we start to look at how the game played out and how siloed we are as a group, as a team, where our defense is over here bringing the energy that we expected to bring, and our offense is asleep. And again, to me, I know people may say, "Oh, this is too much hammering on coaching." The coaches are also responsible for the psyche of the team, how your team responds mentally, what type of juice y'all have. And if you have people that are normally juiced up, natural self-motivated, that are also sleepwalking, that are not playing like themselves, and nobody is, then they're not responding to you. And that's what scares me. They're not responding to you. Like, nobody. Quarterback aside, he does make a good throw, balls off the chest. He does make a catchable pass, balls off the hands. We call play for the running back, runs, doesn't break the tackle. So at some point too, we can blame execution, but we also see this in hoops, where it's like, they just won't hoop for you, man. I don't know what it is. And so I want these dudes to play for Sark, but they got to want it for themselves. I saw people out there on defense that wanted this shit badly. That's what makes me sad. But make sure y'all go subscribe to Nash on YouTube. Nash, any parting thoughts?
I was just gonna say, just to add on to what you just said, it reminds me of when we saw Sam Ehlinger take the field for the first time in place of Shane Buechele. Like, you literally, you did the first play. I remember, I was a Shane Buechele guy, but I remember turning to my dad and I told my dad, I was like, "Hey, it is what it is." As I got it, I have to put my fandom aside, because the reality is, the